Ubi caritas est Deus est, congregavit nos in unum Christianum.
Let's start with the president of, excuse my pronunciation, as the Asociación Civil Trabajo y Persona, Alejandro Marius, who is active literally every day trying to find job opportunities for young people in disadvantaged situations, giving them back what Pope Francis said is a fundamental right, the right to work. I'm really keen to listen to your experience. Thank you, Dr. Marius.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. I'll speak Spanish. If I may, I come from Venezuela, and I would like to salute the eminences and excellencies here and Cardinal Tagle. I feel very small to speak after you, and I thank you very much. But perhaps that will also play in my favor, because I will be forgiven. No, thank you all for being here. And Monsignor Gianpietro del Pozo and Monsignor Tejado Munoz thought that I might have something of interest to say. So I will share with you my experience, my witness of my experience. And I'd like to start by saying that what I experienced as charity is not a set of initiatives to find the best possible solutions to social issues. I'd like to explain how I felt that I was the object of God's love, the sense of my encounter, and how that led me to seek a way to help others. The sentence I heard most often during my adolescence from my father, José Enriquez Marius, is that he who doesn't work doesn't eat. I heard that all the time. I started working when I was very, very young, little more than a child, and not in a theoretical way. We built our house with my father and my brothers. And then my mother raised me and my four brothers, and I would like to thank God for having given me the faith, a gratuitous gift through baptism, and through my parents. And I would like to thank that, because it was a very important part of my life. To live this experience of love and of work. And God has always placed on my path at key moments people who have helped me recognize and understand what He is calling me to. And that is why I very much agree with the way that the Encyclical Caritas puts it, saying that you don't become Christian because of an ethical decision or a great idea, but it's an encounter with an event, with a person that gives a new horizon to life and a new direction. And I'm an engineer, electronic engineering. I graduated in 1993. I got married in 1997, and I have four wonderful daughters. At a certain point in my career, I started asking myself a lot of questions. I was working for a multinational company, telecommunications, and I would travel, go on business trips 20 times a year. And suddenly I thought, but what does it mean to be a husband, a father, a citizen, a friend who's never there? What does God want from me in my life? I was married, I had four daughters, and at the end, all of these reflections led me to ask myself a big question concerning my vocation. What is God calling me to do today? Another important sign was that one day my wife said, when you work in charity, do something good, your eyes shine much more than when you have some business deal. And I realized, I live with lots of women in my household, so I've long learned that you should listen very carefully to what women say. And then another woman, Mother Cristiana Picardo, who was the abbess of Vitorchiano here in Italy, she lives in Venezuela now. And when she was at the monastery in Venezuela, I met her, and I met her, and I was very influenced by her, and also by the Benedictine Ora et Labora, which was very eloquent for an engineer. And I started feeling that I was being called, and after 1,000 years ago, the world was in ruin, and there was the Benedictine experience that restored the value of the human person and of work, and it laid the foundations of the Western world and what we know today. And I would say that perhaps not in the same way, but in all of our countries today, we are living moments of great difficulty, economic, social crisis. And my country, too, is living through a time of crisis. Many of you are familiar with it. I was very struck by what Pope Francis did in one of his many journeys to my continent. In Cuba, he said something that I found very striking. You don't love ideas, you love people. And in Paraguay, he said that ideologies end in violence against the people. Well, I see that my country is very polarized, and I see that often ideas are loved more than people. There are very radical positions in my country. And the reading we had today is very important. How do you love your enemy? How do you love those who think differently from you, or have a different faith, or believe things differently? I started an adventure that was very different from that of many people in Venezuela. I was working in an international setting. I gave up that job, and I started working in the project, which is called Work and People, in 2010. And my idea was to be another type of monk, a special one, because I was married with daughters. But I had the idea of also trying to live by the rule of St. Benedict, because Mother Christiana said they were men like others, but they were men who knew that God created the world for man to perfect the world, to fulfill it as a way of fulfilling God's will and His eternal desire for love. It wasn't easy for me at the beginning. I'm an engineer, so I'm used to working on the basis of projects. I thought of a project for training. I saw several examples that work very well here in Italy. But as Pope Francis said, reality imposes itself over ideas. There was a change of law in Venezuela, and my project disappeared. It's no longer possible. So I had to start again, start from scratch. And I started looking at what already existed in my country. And there were these religious centers, the centers of the Jesuits, the Salesians, the parishes. I tried to see what already existed in the form of vocational training in my country. And then once again, I looked at the sentence of Pope Benedict XVI, who said that the contribution of Christians is decisive only if the intelligence of faith is converted into an intelligence and understanding of reality, which is the key for all judgment and transformation. So I started meeting people who worked in businesses and universities and in centers for vocational training. And I tried to bring innovative proposals for education, for vocational training, forms of business, of setting up businesses, trying to look for synergy among businesses that weren't talking one to another. And I realized that His will and His love towards us is much greater, goes much far beyond all of our projects. And it becomes manifest in the concrete, practical things of our life. It's a love that precedes us at all times. And our awareness of our need to be loved is what can lead to new initiatives and a new capacity to love the other. And so we started working with different institutions, and that led to different initiatives, courses to teach hairdressing skills, to furniture making, all sorts of different ideas. We started doing something that is a little bit different to what NGOs do normally. We decided not to try to continue to increase the number of beneficiaries, of people receiving our training, but to work with those who already had been trained. And that's perhaps not a popular approach, because you don't simply increase your numbers and therefore claim more from the cooperation agencies. But we decided to instead work longer term, and we started thinking of a project such as microcredit, working in fairs and that sort of thing. And we started thinking in terms of sustainability. And we had the first brand for cacao, very high level, artisanal chocolate. And if you stay in the afternoon, I can show you our coffee. Perhaps you can taste it. And so we started working with institutions that are totally secular, that have nothing to do with the church. Last year, with the Schwab Foundation, at the World Economic Forum, we received a prize of Social Entrepreneur of 2015. And also Ashoka, which is a network of social enterprise throughout the world, recognized us, and we entered that network. And people were surprised, because we were very, very serene, and then we thought of a sentence of Don Giussani, the founder of his CNL movement that I belong to. They said that the forces that change history are the same that change the heart of man. I feel that very deeply, and that is what I try to live by. It's his presence, that of God, who made himself man with his love and mercy, and who can change truly the heart of man and attract man to him. And so this is how we started, working with one, then with 12, and then with many. And that's very important that we recognize the value of the person, each person, and realize that they are at the center of the social program, a program for business, a government, or any institution. There's a psalm that I read preparing this presentation, Psalm 8. Who is man that you remember him, human being that you give him power? You made him less than the angels, but you crowned him with glory and dignity. And I feel that I am a sinner, and I see evil in myself and in the others, but at the same time, I know that God created us just under the angels, and that is something that is extraordinary. It's almost unbelievable. And we can base our relationship with people, with other persons, on that understanding. I can tell you two examples. A young woman, her name is Osterli, 27-year-old single mother who lives in a very poor neighborhood of Caracas, and she has a child who has Down syndrome. And one of the activities that is being promoted now in Venezuela, in the somewhat disastrous situation that we are experiencing now, is that many people start working in contraband and smuggling. We are against it. We don't see that it in any way enhances the dignity of human beings. Quite the opposite. She followed training with us in chocolate making, and then after that a very short university course, which for her was something that she had never even dreamed of. And I said, but why don't you work in contraband, black market, like many? Why are you continuing along this path? And her answer was, Professor, if I were to go down that path, after what I've learned here, how could I go home in the evening and look at my child, look in my child's eyes? How can I think of the others of my country instead of continuing along this job, this passion that I've discovered, which is chocolate making, if I were instead to go into the black market, do contraband. Another example, a young boy, Leandro, 19 years old, abandoned by his mother at 14. He had a girlfriend, but the family was against it, and the family of the girlfriend said that he was nothing, no one, and they forced her to leave him. Well, we were starting then. We're launching a training project with Ford Motor to train technicians. And he came, he walked 15 kilometers to come with us because he couldn't even pay for the bus ticket. And he said that he really wanted to become a mechanic and start the course. Well, he convinced us. He completed his course. He did very well. his girlfriend then asked him to come back, to return to her. And it's quite extraordinary because the two then came to Caracas, the couple, and they asked me to be the witness of their marriage. But I realized then that they were evangelical Protestants, and I said, but have you talked about it with your pastor? I mean, I'm Catholic, and what did your pastor say about it? And they said that the pastor had said that what matters most was that you can support us in our faith and therefore in our married life. And then I asked my brother, who's a priest, whether I could do it. He said, yes, go ahead. It's not a sin, go straight ahead. So now I will be the best man in this marriage of these two young Protestants, this young couple that is getting married. And I think it's very touching because it's this sort of experience that the world needs, where all of the money, all the ideology, and all the power will never achieve these results, because the heart of the man is that which is made here, which is reached truly. And this is what, for me, Deus Caritas means. The same method that Christ used to encounter me is the method that I can use, the way I can meet others in his name. Thank you.